Okay, after a ton of audio stuff, which you would not believe, I spent like 20 minutes, and it probably still doesn't sound any better. But anyway, we're here. I got hydrated a little bit further. This is going to be kind of a short one, but we'll see One Button Man through, hopefully, to a good stopping point. My headset's extra creaky. I don't know why. I'll try to fix that. Okay, fixed. Wow. So, something to remember here is that we've got to return the cannons. We've got to return to Minova outside the Arcovian Undercity entrance. That's Pine Barrens. We want to go to Broken Hills, yeah. I finished like a 4-something hour recording for the final 6 theorems in the 2-star chapter. That'll be up on my channel eventually. My other channel, not this one. My gaming channel is this one, obviously. The other one is the one to do with my books and stuff. I'll probably put it in the description below if logic and logical theorems and stuff interest you. Just watch the main video on that channel before you watch anything else so you don't get the wrong idea. Alright. Anyway, Minova says that she can no longer sense her daughter's anguished presence. Is it finished? It is done. She suffers no more. She thanks us and says we've delivered her poor daughter from an eternity of lonely suffering, fear, and hate. She'll repay us in the only way she can, which is an attribute point. Excellent. Yes, thank you. So it's worth doing that, you know. If we look here, we've got more reason to dump into spirit than we do physique. But we also want to dump these into cunning. Because spirit and cunning are both our damage dealing stats. And that's kind of important, you know. I don't think we're ready to slay Grand Priest Zarthuzalan yet. Let's instead go to Homestead and get that guy on the wall his cannons. Check this out. You're still in one piece. Suppose that means you didn't try to enter the conflagration then. Wise choice. Actually, I went out there. The cannons are secured. Well, I'll be darned, you got more guts than brains, but you won't find me complaining when those cannons are back in our hands. I'll have some men sent out there to haul them back immediately. You've done the Legion a huge service. Thank you. 2,000 iron. 250 Black Legion reputation. It's the 13 grand, really, there. But check it out. They actually do have cannons again. Like, they're not kidding. They have cannons now. I think they're on all sides. I wanted to say that. Maybe it's just the front. Yeah, like, I know for a fact the cannons are out here. If I could get some folks to follow me. That should actually fire. I thought they did. That's dim. I thought the cannons actually fired. I guess I misremembered that quest. Yeah, I could have sworn they actually fired the things. Like, they weren't just for show. Well, anyway, there's some more quests here. Like, there's one lady whose journal you can find, and it's kind of funny. Anyway, gotta stay on point. We'll go slay old Bloodbriar, the Shaded Basin, later. Right now, we're gonna stay on point for our main objectives here. Our first main objective is to clear out the Dermopteran egg clusters near Homestead, and then to clear out the Dermopteran oh goodness. I ate some more ham chili, so I'm kind of, yeah. Anyway, these are Dermopterans. They're annoying bugs. They're also lethal bugs if you let them, you know, swarm you. As far as I remember, this is the only chapter with Dermopterans, but they are kind of a big faction. Actually, I'll be clear, I'm not sure if they are a faction. I don't think they are, like their own faction. Yeah. Yeah, they're not like an actual faction. I think they're under beasts. But the gist is that Dermopterans are the main category of mob that we'll be dealing with here for a little while. I like it. I like it as a nice like change of pace in the story, kind of like the undead. Again, I'll say this much. I don't dislike the undead, I just dislike the healing mechanics of the undead. Like, I don't like that percentage-based rapid-fire AoE heal crap. That's just... I don't like that they can heal from almost off-screen a boss character to full in seconds. I think that's not good. God, I just don't like that at all. But other than that, I like them as a change of pace. I like them as a faction. I like, you know, and it's the same thing here with the Dermopterans. I like them, more or less. But yeah, Dyla's Diary. Let's take a look at that. An excerpt from her diary. Oliver doesn't want me writing in here anymore. He says it fills my head with dreams when there's work to be done around the farm, so I've been writing at night when he's asleep. He cannot stop the muse that pulls the strings of my heart. The Weeping Oak, by Dyla Thornsbury. The limbs of a nearby tree tapped a steady rhythm against the bedroom window. Another storm was building up on the horizon, but Dyla could not shake the feeling that this would not be just another shower. She sat up in her bed and took a quick glance at her husband, Oliver. He was still fast asleep. Not even a hurricane could stir that man from his slumber. Dyla got up, making sure not to shift the covers off her husband. She tiptoed to the wardrobe and retrieved her gear, a well-worn suit of light leather armor and her trusty sword, Stormheart. The blade sparked with electricity as she removed it from its scabbard. The enchantment was still as strong as the day she had found it in the tomb north of Darkvale. Dyla replaced the blade and hooked the scabbard into her belt. She took one last glance at Oliver before heading out the door. It was best he did not know about her little nightly vigils. He would just worry himself sick, and Dyla could not stand to see him so obsessed over her safety. The wind whipped Dyla's hair around her face as she stepped out the front door. The rain was already starting to pick up. The ground was drenched with moisture, turning the path into mud. Dyla tread carefully, planting every step on a stone or where the ground was still firm. At last she arrived at the edge of the lone oak tree, a place she could be alone with her thoughts. But there was something off about the spot that night. A deep sense of dread immediately overcame her. I knew you'd come out to greet me, Dyla, my dear. A ghastly voice spoke from behind the tree. Dyla drew Stormheart, its sparking surface turning the raindrops into mist. A dark figure showed itself and calmly walked towards her. She could not see the man's face, but she knew well who he was. Come now, is that any way to greet your brother? The man spoke again. Dyla did not say a word. Instead, she let her blade do the talking for her. The figure countered her blows with a blade of his own, a burning sword that left streaks of fire across the air with every swing. I see you've been practicing, the man said, with a grin forming on his lips. Thunder crackled in the sky as lightning flared down from the heavens, briefly illuminating the scene. The light from the storm revealed the face of Dyla's adversary, the grisly, heavily decayed face of her brother, Dravis. Dyla hissed through her clenched teeth. She dove in for another attack. Yeah, okay. So basically, she's just writing fan fiction. Or not even fan fiction, just like weird cringe. I guess you'd call that cringe fiction. Cringe core?
I can't do that yet.
Anyway, what we can do is take this back to her and straight up tell her we read it. Hey man, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to say that it's bad. I'm just going to say that it is like look at this lady. Like, I'm just saying. It's the kind of writing that needs art with it, if you catch my drift. Like, I don't know, yeah, this is her daughter right here. Yeah, like, she's, you know, a mother and wife making comic books without the actual art. I found your diary, Dyla. And she says, oh heavens, I hope you didn't read it. It's not proper to stick your nose into a lady's private scribblings. Thank you. I dropped it when we fled the farm. Figured the Democrats would have shredded it by now. Yeah, we'll just straight up tell her, like, your secret's safe with me. I mean, I kid, but like, you know, you actually put, like, if you get that kind of writing and you touch it up a bit, add art panels and stuff, you could make that into something like profitable, monetizable, and enjoyable for, you know, more than just the private audience kind of thing. But I don't think that, as ironic as it is that Grim Dawn, if you remember the opening cutscene, that the cutscenes in Grim Dawn are in kind of a comic book style, I don't think comic books are a thing that exist in the world of Grim Dawn. But that lady definitely could make the first, and she'd make a killing. Like, I mean, think about it. If you're the first person to make comic books in a world where entertainment is lacking, and everything has gone to crap, you would probably make a mint. Like, I want to say that if she just turned that into a comic book series somehow, she'd make a fortune. I'm not joking. Like, if you think about it, this is the perfect time to be, like, I mean, like, in the world of Grim Dawn, obviously. It's the perfect time to be making that kind of stuff. You know, to keep people's minds off of stuff, or at least to give them something to do whenever they're not working that'll kind of help keep their thoughts off of the enormity of just how awful everything has gotten compared to how it was.
That skill's not ready.
So yeah, I mean, this is basically what a lot of this chapter is, if you're wanting to clear out the map. I think I mentioned it in the last recording session, a bit, but to really put a fine point on it and make it direct, like, yes, this is a very, very, very wide open act. It's got a lot of, I mean, the entirety of the Pine Barrens, as far as I'm aware, is optional. I mean, I literally missed it on my very first playthrough in its entirety, so it's optional in the direct sense. Whenever I say I think it's optional, again, it depends on if you consider skipping. It's that kind of thing, right? That once you know there's a critical upgrade there, does it really become optional? I say, you know, it's, you split the value of optional there between direct optional and indirect optional. Sorry, that ham chili is just really hit bottom. It's like a cannonball in my stomach. But yeah, you know, it's critical upgrades that you can technically miss and still be fine. It's just that once you know they're there, because it's got, I think, more, yeah, definitely, now that I think about it, it's got 2 at a minimum devotion shrines, and as you've seen, devotion shrines are kind of important. So I consider it personally not optional, but you know, that's again with the caveat that you know about it. Like, you shouldn't skip it. Because the power boost is just too good. Like, there's not really any reason to skip it, given how much you get out of it. It just occurred to me that I'm not sure if there's an item find stat that you can get for stuff. If there isn't, I kind of wish there was. Like a luck stat where you can pick up gear or armor that has like +% chance to find whatever. I was watching some videos the other day by Zarfin, the Loot Goblin, whichever one, the guy who does Diablo 2 videos, and Diablo 3, I guess. I've not actually played any Diablo other than Diablo 4, and I know exactly how that sounds to people who have played Diablo. I know, like, just don't worry, I'm not going to judge the Diablo franchise based on Diablo 4. I thought Diablo 4 was okay. For whatever that's worth. I mean, Diablo 4 was okay. It wasn't like world-shattering or anything. I played as... I think it was the Rogue. I think it was a Rogue that I made, because he had the poison blades. Or something like that. I don't know. The point is that I played it, and that was my first introduction to Diablo, and obviously I didn't think it was as great as Grim Dawn, but it seems like Diablo 4 is the worst of the series from what I've seen elsewhere, so... Anyway, I was watching that guy's playthrough of Diablo, like, not playthrough, but one of his videos about Diablo 2, and, you know, it kind of hit me that even though I haven't played Diablo, and I do like isometric ARPGs, the main way that I've ever experienced them, other than Grim Dawn, is like... I'm not sure if this counts, technically, but I used to play StarCraft Brood War as a kid, and I did not play the actual game. I would play custom maps, and you would be shocked how many video games, like MOBAs, for instance, I played on Brood War custom maps back in the day before they became like a genre. And that's kind of how I got introduced to this kind of game. I know this camera angle thing and all that isn't like really the same in StarCraft Brood War custom maps, but you'd be shocked at the custom maps people came up with. And one of them was that you'd have like a hero unit and you'd go through like a map with a story, and the different mobs would have different health values and recolors and stuff. So I didn't really play Diablo at all. But the thing that I was getting at with the Loot Goblin, like that Zarfin the Loot Goblin guy stuff, is that I noticed that in Diablo a thing is item find. There's like a magic find stat, and I think that would be pretty nifty in Grim Dawn, or really just any ARPG. I think that's kind of a cool stat to have. I mean, I even appreciate that in Dark Souls, you know? Like, I appreciate that in Dark Souls, increased item find. Like, I just kind of appreciate it in general. I mean, that sounds like a really stupid thing to say. Like, well, yeah, of course everyone likes having a better chance to find items. Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing in this game. And I don't know. If it isn't, I think it would be neat if it was added. And the reason why I mentioned the Brood War thing is that I'm pretty sure that even Brood War had like the equivalent of that, though you wouldn't like really find items. You would just kind of have, in most of those custom maps, you'd have like you gain more XP kind of a thing, and your equivalent of XP would be like Vespine and minerals or whatever. To like level up your, it was just it's kind of wild to think about how I played stuff like MOBAs. Like legit, there's a map that I could even see in my mind's eye that there's like a section in the middle between the two lanes that bent around like a horseshoe, and imagine like a little letter C but turned around, you know, so that the open side is on the left, where there was a mutual non-combat area where you could buy items and stuff. I mean, it was just like Dota, but I think it predated Dota. It was kind of wild to think about. Yeah, there was just all sorts of weird stuff that people came up with for custom maps on that game. What the? There we go. I was wondering why I couldn't get that loot. And by the way, this act does have a number of devotion shrines, so we're going to definitely find at least 3 more if you count the 2 in the Pine Barrens, so this guy right here is going to be complete sooner rather than later. That plus 4% offensive ability is kind of nice. I forget already what I was going to get next. I think it was going to just be the Goblin, as boring as that sounds, just for the attack damage converted to health, but I don't know. I think once we get the Hydra done, I'm going to do a real sort of deep look at what I want to do next with the star chart. Because I don't think there's going to be any more relevant attack speed upgrades. I kind of want to look for damage, and failing that, resistances. Because the way that I look at it is that you go damage, and then resistances, and then health in any RPG, because the more damage you do, the less time you spend in combat. The more resistances you have, like armor and such, the more each point of health is worth, and then you get health because that's like at the bottom of the pole, right? That's the bottom of the totem pole, that's the foundation. Like, if your damage fails and your resistances aren't enough, at a minimum you have enough health. Which is why in Elden Ring, and whenever I do my inevitable Elden Ring, like, commentator playthrough for this channel, I'll point it out on that, but that's why in Elden Ring, people say... Hold on, let's look at this. Walter's note. Yeah, well, there you go. That's how that worked out for him, the poor unfortunate. But, yeah, that's why in Elden Ring, I kind of, and honestly, other Souls games, like other Souls-likes, whenever people say you need to get your vitality to, just for Elden Ring, everyone and their mother tells people to get their vitality to 60. You're better off, instead of spending the extra 15 points from vitality 45 to go to 60, dumping those 15 points into endurance. Because then you're able to wear heavier, better armor and gear, but mainly armor. And with that better armor, you also have more stamina, which gives you the capacity to dodge and just do more, right? So, thus increasing your survivability more than just naked health would. I mean, I've beaten Elden Ring with, not to brag, but I've beaten Elden Ring with 30 vigor, like vitality, whatever. Like, you don't need I think it is vitality in that game, right? Instead of vigor. But either way, I've beaten Elden Ring with like 30 vitality and 40 endurance. You don't actually need all that much vitality if you have good damage, you have good resistances. Now, I'm not saying that I like doing that, because obviously it's better, in my opinion, to have the minimum best defense, which is 45 vigor or vitality, whichever one, and 45 endurance. But failing that, like, yeah, if you have the extra 15 points to spare and you do want that extra, like, 400 health, like, yeah, go for it. You know, that extra health isn't going to be bad. It's just that if you get extra damage, you're going to be ending the fight faster. And that can make a whole world of difference in a Souls-like game, for sure. I'm not really sure how I was supposed to get... Hold on, motion sickness warning. Okay, there we go. I just had to get aligned with the compass, again. Because there's a certain spot that I want to get to, because there's a kind of hidden side quest, if you want to call it that. Well, here, we might as well take out these jokers. What the heck? That was odd. Ow. Got like a random hair in my mouth. I hope that's far funnier to you listening at home. Ah! Ah! What the heck? Okay. At least I hope that was a hair. It felt like it. Yeah. Okay. Now that that weirdness is done with, I completely forgot what I was saying. Hold on, I'll get it. It'll come back to me. I think I was saying something about might as well take down those jokers and get a level up. Which is true, that's how I feel about it. Stone Clan Warriors, I think I mentioned it last time, but for some reason, whenever I was playing on my other guy, and I'm going to assume they'll do it here, they could, like, seemingly randomly do a hit that would take a lot of damage. Or rather, take a lot of health, do a lot of damage. Not really sure why. Like, I don't know what that's about. And it's only the Stone Clan guys, I think. Okay, so these are more, rovers. Okay, so here's Elar's journal. Yeah, so something funky is going on here, and we're going to put a stop to it. That's the quest we've got over here, the like semi-hidden quest. Just another optional thing in this act, full of optional things. Alright, so we got another level up. I forget what exactly I was planning on putting it into, but I know that, like, getting back up to level 8 cadence is kind of serious import. So let's just get back up to that. 1 dynamite, eh? Well, I know where we might get 1 dynamite. I dislike that that portal sometimes decides to get right in the spot that I don't want it to get into. To be occluded by other A button prompts. Okay, well. Let's do the intelligent thing and go straight down here to the local mine. Yeah, alright. Was just making sure I was at the right place and going the right way. Excellent. Wow, okay. That's kind of a weird spin the camera did there. I mean, I know why I did that. I hit the recenter button. I'm just saying that it went all the way around instead of just going a little bit to the right. Like it spun rapidly clockwise instead of going a little counterclockwise. Okay, so the dynamite should be up here. Nice. I didn't exactly want that honey, but, you know, whatever. Okay, there's the dynamite. Well, this guy is still above us in level. That's kind of impressive. Ditto for the Cronley gang, people. I mean, again, I wasn't kidding whenever I said that the level scaling here went up very high. I'm not even sure why.
I can't do that.
Because if you'll remember the bugs in the Dermopterans in the field were like level 38. So these guys here, the Cronley Gang folks, are a higher level than the bugs in Act 3. I don't get that. I don't know why my dash just keeps... There we go, it finally worked as it should. Now let's go over here and hopefully have some room enough that we can just finish this out simply. Now, we didn't come here to do that to that guy. We just came here for the dynamite, but hey. Not complaining. I don't think we're going to find any more. Come to think of it. I kind of wanted to walk around and open a couple boxes, but I think that's just it for this area. I don't remember if you're actually able to find dynamite in lootables here. You are elsewhere, but I'm not so sure that's a thing here. Ah, my ear. Goodness gracious. Alright. Let's make our way back. Now, a reminder, we can only have one town portal up at a time. That's why I'm walking back instead of town portaling out. Because it would be a far longer journey to just to walk all the way back to where we were at, I think. Like to where the rover camp is or whatever. Here we go. And now with our one dynamite, we can blow this cave in up, get into the cave. And then in the buried crypt we can find a little girl. Please help me, I'm so scared. Yeah, a little girl all by herself in here. Callista suddenly looks serious. I'm not a little girl, I'm almost this many years old. Callista holds up a hand with all her fingers spread out. Mama says so. How did you get trapped down here? I was out playing by myself like Mama said not to. I wandered into this cave when the exit collapsed behind me. Callista sobs between words. Please, I just want to go home to my mama and papa. They live in a camp nearby. Why didn't they come looking for you? I don't know. Why does it matter? Maybe they couldn't find this place under all the rocks. Callista is ready to cry. You're frightening me with all your questions. I just need to get out of this prison. Something seems off here. Flame flickers in Callista's eyes. Take me from this place now. You are a deceiver, demon. And yeah, sure enough. You know, if nothing sets you off about that, the word prison should. Like, free me from this prison. Like, wait, a little kid wouldn't view this as a prison. Right? It's like, why would a little kid call this a prison? They'd say, like, this horrible place, or, you know, this awful place, or this cave, or something like that. Like, a little kid wouldn't be like, free me from this prison! Blood of Cthon and 250 rovers reputation. Also, I don't know why my guy is stuck attacking. There we go. By the way, I can't remember exactly, like, don't quote me on this, but I feel like it's a real thing that if you do send that thing back via Riftgate into the rover camp, it kills all of them. Like you just come back here, and it's just covered in blood. Like, they don't say anything to you, but if I remember right, you come back here and they're just killed. They're just all dead. It's kind of stupid that you can't, like, talk to them about it, but it's like, hey guys, did you know there was, like, a demon on the hill that was giving people nightmares? You know, wow, thanks for taking care of that. Like, nothing. It's like, alright, whatever. I mean, to be fair, that's kind of tame, given what everything else, like, is doing right now, from the ethereals to the chthonics themselves to, like, that guy missed the party. That dude's being all spooky and stuff. You know, he's playing like, he's being that subtle kind of spooky, and everything else has just gone to pot so bad that that's quaint. It's like, oh, the, you know, little girl is secretly a transmogrified demon bit. Yeah, well, there's a 13-foot zombified green mutoid outside with a legion commanded in part by a legion of trans-dimensional alien spirits that are seeking to take over the world in the most wretched way possible. Like, it's kind of small potatoes compared to the ethereal menace. What was that for? What was the sting for? As always, we've got bugs to clear out. Like I said, that'll be like a major theme of this section of the game. The Dermopteran menace near Homestead. I think it works thematically as a reminder that like, the Grim Dawn isn't just a plague of ethereals and chthonics, it's also a plague of the things that kept the wild reaches at bay have fallen, and thus the Empire's bane is coming back. Like trolls and manticores and such. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure, like, again, this is another, don't quote me on this, but it feels like whenever this takes place, like whenever your guy is going around the world, it hasn't actually been that long since the Grim Dawn, as in the titular event that the game is named after within the lore of the world of the game Grim Dawn. Like, that being the day that the ethereals poured out and started mass possessing people and all that stuff, and everything kind of fell apart. Like, it feels like it's not that long after all that started, and already, you know, things have gotten super bad. It almost kind of gives an appearance that the wilds of Cairn were never really all that far off. That what was kept at bay was kind of barely kept at bay, if that makes sense. That they may have had peace and tranquility within the trade routes and the heartland of the Empire, but it makes it feel like it was only just. Like, there was a constant battle to keep manticores off the roads and to keep trolls from abducting travelers and what have you. Sorry, I had to get some water. But yeah, there was like only just barely that stuff was kept at bay. And now that the Grim Dawn kind of unmoored all of that, all the little things that locked together, like the supplies and the missives, and, you know, just from communication to supply routes and roads to just all of it that kind of kept the machinery, the eternal lawnmower, if you will, that was keeping the grass of the wilds from growing too thick. Like that winked out of existence for but a moment, and everything just kind of came back in full force. Which, I mean, to be fair, if you look at the world map, look, all of this in the world map, I'm going to spoil it, all of this right here is not used. Like, the vast majority of this world map is not seen. Like, you don't visit the vast majority of it, and honestly, I wish you did. Like, I wish you could go here, and like, this southwestern quadrant, I wish you could go through. I really wish you could go north of Port Valbury and see what's in this region. But I kind of like also and appreciate that you can't, because things got so bad so quickly. Like, these are the wilds that this stuff is running from into civilization, right? So to put it into perspective, it's like things are this bad in the heartland. I can't even imagine what lays beyond like this mountain, you know? What lays beyond like this mountain range over north of Valbury. What lays in the northeast past Malmouth. What lays, you get the idea, like what's in the far southern reaches. I mean, the stuff down there is probably unfathomable. It's kind of like thinking about in that game, the lore of the game Dishonored, where you play as whatever his name is, Velcro, I forget his name, Corvo, that's it, Velcro. But yeah, where you play as Corvo, that where the little bit of lore that you get about what the mainland is like paints it as this unimaginable wilderness of just unthinkable inhospitably whatever, inhospitality. Like, it's just so inhospitable that it's just unthinkable. I think that's the correct term, inhospitality. But yeah, so inhospitable is so inimical to human life. And I don't know, I like thinking about this stuff whenever, because to me, what matters as much in a setting, like a fantasy setting, isn't just what you see, but what you don't see, and how what you don't see is presented. If that makes sense. Like, it can be just as cool and just as interesting to know that whatever is going on in the world that you're seeing, like the little slice of the fictional realm that you get to see, that things are way nuttier off screen. Like, you know, you take one step left into the next theater over, and you see what else is happening, and it just blows your mind, kind of stuff. I like that. I mean, in this game, I don't think you actually hear too much about the other areas of Cairn. Obviously, outside of like the Forgotten Gods thing, where you go to a different region of the world, but I'm gonna be real, that's a very unimpressive hero unit. Yeah, it's still, it ignites the imagination a bit, to think that if things are this out of control in the Heartland, that out there in the reaches, that there might be, I don't know, 50-foot marauding six-armed giants just hurling boulders the size of homes and things at random. Or even worse, that the Aetherials might end up, like, figuring out how to possess those, that kind of stuff. Like, lore, theorizing, all that. Now, one thing with the democrats, I promise you, it's just a ham chili, and also all the stuff I've been through lately. It's got me so tired. One thing with the Dermopterans is that the nest, if I'm not mistaken, the nest opening, one of the reasons why you might end up having to walk across the whole map is like I'm pretty sure the nest opening is semi-random that you have to go into for the quest that we're about to get whenever we return to Douglas and Homestead, as the quest says we should. I kind of just wanted to fill out the map and maybe, if we were lucky, find the pit that we need to hop into for that upcoming quest. But yeah, it can move around the map if I'm not mistaken, which I'm not against that, but it does mean that whenever you get to this part of the game, you may have to wander around a bit. That is getting up into the area that we'll have to go to for the main quest, like the stuff we actually have to do to get the eastern side of Homestead open. So let's skip the gruesome harvest, because what we're looking for right now is out in the rotting croplands. I mean, it should go without saying, but you know you're in the right place to look for the Dermopteran nest, because there's Dermopterans around, instead of just Aetherials. Okay. I would like to think that we'll find... Yeah, I think that's it. I was going to say, I'd like to think that we'll find it soon. I'm pretty sure that's it. Excellent. Yeah, we've got a lot of farmland to cover, though. Ah, my ear. That's kind of grim. Yep, a lot of farmland, so that's where the thingy is. We'll try to leave that unexplored-ish. Just so that it's obvious on the map where it is. Ah. Again, my ear. Goodness. Okay. So if we go over here, get off of the burning ground for a bit. What is over here? Huh. Okay, core plaques, the overgrown. And his friends. Okay. I'm wondering what is over here still. Just a different way around, I guess. I ain't complaining.
Do that yet.
Bit odd. But I ain't complaining. I do think this is the outer edge, though, so once we get this charted, yeah, we'll have finished the rotting croplands. I almost called it the rotting cromlands. Farm, croplands, cromlands. Okay. Once we get through this area, the game kind of, and by this area I mean just this general part of Act 3, the game sort of picks up a bit because you see the switch over from the ethereals as the predominant enemy to the chthonics as the predominant enemy sort of start happening. The shift kind of takes full swing, and then by the time you get to the start of Act 4, you end up seeing that it kind of bandsaws in some areas from the ethereals to being the chthonics and vice versa. Like, you'll run into a group of chthonics, and then after that a group of ethereals, and then after that, but the big bad of the last bit of the story in the normal game, like the base game, the non-DLC acts, like the big bad of the last section of that is still the chthonics. Which is interesting because you start off with the game with the ethereals being the obvious bad guys, and the chthonics are the guys you have to go after that. I'll remind you, I haven't really played a whole lot of the DLC, so I barely remember what... I know that Malmoth, obviously, from the stuff relating to it, like the promo stuff, has to do with ethereals. I just don't know if it's sort of now we're going to deal with the ethereal menace kind of thing, or if it's just a, hey, the ethereals have an outpost here kind of thing. I forget if I ever even reached Malmoth. I remember the part with the with the woods. I remember the journey to Malmoth. I just don't remember if I ever actually got in Malmoth. There's Banezal, Hellboard. Real spooky. I wonder if they were growing pumpkins. Like, are these pumpkins? Kind of looks like it could be pumpkins, but it also kind of looks like cabbages. I don't know, any avid horticulturalists want to clue me in, please do so in the comments. Okay. Almost done. Ah, my ear. Holy crap. I wish I knew why that happens. I genuinely wish I did. Ditto for why my phone tries to shut off even though I have that feature turned off. Ugh. The bird noises help. Alleviate the stress of ear itchiness and stupid phone non-features. Last Will of Martha Severbrook. Hidden Wealth, yes. One sack of flour, loaf of bread, 2 dozen eggs, 3 bottles of Airlon Red. Dress ordered at the seamstress. Yeah, okay. Now, if I remember right, that Hidden Wealth is in one of those areas of the northwest that we just went through. I could be wrong, but I think it is. There we go. That's almost everything here cleaned out. Alright, I'm just going to clear this little wall up here, and I'll just call it at that, as cleaned out. There we go. Now, if we can get back, yeah, I mean, just that little spot, we get the idea. It's cleaned out. And look at how big this place is, right? Like, I'm not kidding. It's a wide open area. Yeah, sure enough, I was right. There's that detonation site. And that takes another dynamite. So, tell you what. How about we get up there, we go back and turn in the quest, and then we get the other quest from Douglas, and then I'll cut the video there. So... go ahead and get back on down to Homestead. Where is Douglas? Alright, he's out here. I cleared out the fields as you asked. I am relieved to hear that and that you've returned in one piece. Thermopterans should not be trifled with, especially in such numbers. I will speak to Captain Somer about sending some guards out along with some of the farmers. We will have that field cleaned up in no time. In the meantime, I was wondering... Oh, rather, in the meantime, I was hoping you would hear me out on a far more grave task. What is it? The Dermopterans... The Dermopteran hives are cyclical in nature. Every 7 years or so, they birth a new queen, which promptly proliferates their numbers and causes them to explode across the countryside. In the past, we would rally together and exterminate the queen while she was still young. But after the Grim Dawn, the Dermopterans were allowed to thrive, and their queen has molted into a massive creature that spawns new Dermopterans by the dozen every day. She has to be destroyed, otherwise the insects will eventually run out of food and attack us in force. The queen is always guarded by 2 of her grand viziers, so you would have to acquire their pheromone glands to even enter her chamber. We know that the royal hive is somewhere out in the rotting croplands to the west of Homestead. After the way you handled the infested fields, I am confident in your abilities. Will you help us halt the Dermopteran reproductive cycle? I will gladly pull together all of our iron bits if you can pull this off. I will slay the Dermopteran queen. You know how it is. Anyway, I'm gonna check.
Storage. No questions asked.
Ah, only 2. That stinks. I guess I'll put this sword in with the rare items. I'll put this in with them too. And these spalders, I guess.
I'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on to that for you.
I'll sell the rest and then cut the recording.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Alright, well, we might as well put this front and center. Get rid of the rest of this junk. Right, I want to keep that. Move these components over here, since they stack. Get rid of that.
See you around.
Alright, be back in a bit.